Suddenly it changes, violently it changes. They say silver is a volatile metal. Today we've seen a lot of that volatility play out. There is blood in the streets. We have gold down $489, almost $500, down 9%, almost 10% for the day. Silver down $30, down 26%. Platinum down $448, down 17%. So as we all know, gold is usually hold steady. If it's down 10%, everything else drops down 20-30%. Congratulations to all the people that took advantage of the gold-silver ratio. After this dip, I believe gold will be the first one to recover, presenting opportunities maybe to get back into silver. Who knows what the future holds? But I think that was a great move. I wasn't able to take advantage of that because of my position. Car is more important currently than obtaining some gold. So congratulations to all you guys. We all stack for different reasons. Many of the people out there just stack for to get as many ounces as they can, and this is just noise to them. It's cheaper silver to them. Many of us DCA. I feel like I'm in a good position. I took a little profits along the way, so I feel, I'm positioned if we go up or down. So emotionally, I'm feeling pretty stable, pretty good. But there's people out there that, are just bought in. Some people just bought in at $117. They've been paying $120, $125 for an ounce of silver. And in one day, it drops goes from a high of like 120 all the way down to $85. And they find themselves trapped. And, I feel for those people out there. I don't want new people coming into silver to get discouraged and sell and just have a nasty taste in their mouth about the whole silver experience. I'm also wondering what a day like this does for the coin shops. I know that a lot of dealers, even with gold, they've had like a 10-day wait to get paid, and they wouldn't get paid until it was processed. So how does that affect coin shops going forward? I would imagine a lot of people, sent gold to the refinery and it still wasn't processed, and it won't be processed till after the dip here. And do they lose a lot of money? Are they more scared? Are they going like 20 back from spot nowadays? So I'm wondering how that all plays out in the future. If anyone has any information about what coin shops are paying now, let me know. I could imagine some shops are paying anywhere between $65 to $80, somewhere in that range. And a lot of people said that. So I'm wondering how this affects the coin shops. If anyone has any information, please leave a comment below. As you know, I'm just a degenerate Gen Xer rebuilding his life. Trying to fight his way, crawl his way out of poverty. This is just my journey. I'm trying to document it. This is my video diary, and everyone's welcome to join. I'm really hoping to be talking to a future member of the family, maybe give them ideas or show them the mistakes I made, or the, some of the good things I've done, some of the knowledge I've learned along the way. So I'm really trying to speak to someone in the future, maybe my future self, future family member. But like I said, everyone's welcome to join me in my video diary here. I'm just kind of going over, processing what happened today, how I'm positioned, thoughts going through my mind. I'm the warning, not the example. So I hope no one takes, anything I say too seriously, or take it as financial advice or anything along those lines. Like I said, I'm just documenting how I feel and how I'm processing everything and moving forward. And emotions have always been a big thing for me. I learned in playing poker that if you don't have control of your emotions, you could wreck yourself, destroy your whole bankroll, go bankrupt, just go broke, not be able to play anymore because you're out of the game. So bankroll management is very important. I kind of see that as similar to DCA, dollar cost averaging. Emotions play a huge part in poker. I've played 5-6 suited against someone that had aces. They went all in. I caught a flush. I've seen people just lose their shit at a poker table and just emotionally come apart and, want to kill you. But when there's money involved, emotions are involved. And through the years, I've tried to keep my emotions in check. That's why I kind of position myself the way I do. It's the reason that I took a little profits along the way. Like I said, right now I feel emotionally stable. If we go up, I feel well positioned because I still have a lot of my silver. If we go down, I took some profits, so I'm not too concerned. My overall view of the situation, I did a good job, I think, reading the charts. I saw a lot of resistance around 120. Like my last video, I said, I think made a prediction. I think we'll hit 120, have a correction. I don't know if this is a blow off top or if it's just a correction on the way to a higher high, a more longer extended bull market. So I don't know if it's the end or a continuation, but I think we will eventually trade sideways for some time. We might even trade sideways for, a year or two, but a lot of people are predicting around 2030. If this is the major bull run everyone says it is, that, around 2030, 2032, up in that range is where you'll really see massive gains. Short term could be volatile like we see now, ups and downs. So I don't know if this is a blow off top or a continuation in a longer bull market. And so, well, to sum up my long picture, I think we'll see a lot of volatility in the short term, and I think silver is going much higher in the long term. I'm trying to take advantage of the volatility, trying to cash in on a little bit, play the market some. And like I said, my long-term vision of silver is bullish. Nothing has changed. We still have a lot of the conflict around the world. We have our conflict, China and America, and so a lot is going on. So we have a lot going on around the world. I think we're in a financial war, and I'm just trying to position myself the best way I can. I saw one article saying that, like $1 trillion, $2 trillion just disappeared out of the market, and that money doesn't disappear, folks. Some of it's right here, which creates new problems for me. And so I just got these plastic sleeves because now that I took some of my purchasing power out of silver and converted it, cash burns a hole in my pocket. So silver was my way of saving, and so now I have to learn how to save cash. And I got these plastic sleeves. I got the idea off Thousand Air Radio about a year ago. He was talking about, when he would save his money for his centenarios, he'd put it in a plastic sleeve, and it kind of is like a little mind trick. And now it seems valuable. You don't want to spend it as much. So I'm trying to learn how to have cash around and not spend it. So trying a little mind trick right there. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is, money just doesn't disappear. It goes in someone else's pocket, and I'm trying to play the volatility, can some fruit, like I say. I saw it as harvest time and harvest, but there's the old Chinese parable. So I caught some flack for selling, and what I kept telling myself, or reminded myself, is the old Chinese parable. And it goes like this. Once upon a time, there was an old farmer who lived in a small village with his son. They owned a single horse, which was essential for plowing their fields. One day, the horse ran away. The villagers came to console the farmer, saying, "What terrible misfortune!" But the farmer replied calmly, "We'll see." The next day, the horse returned, bringing with it several wild horses. The villagers exclaimed, "What great luck!" Again, the farmer said, "We'll see." Soon after, the farmer's son tried to tame one of the new horses and was thrown off, breaking his leg. The villagers sympathized. Such bad luck. The farmer responded, "We'll see." A week later, the army marched into the village to conscript young men for war. Because of his broken leg, the farmer's son was spared. The villagers said, "How fortunate!" And once more the farmer replied, "We'll see." The moral of the parable is that fortune and misfortune are intertwined, and what seems like a setback today may reveal itself differently tomorrow. And it always reminds me that, tomorrow won't look like today. Things changes. Markets don't go up forever. There's corrections along the way. So was selling a bad move for me? Well, we'll see. I don't know. I feel good about it right now. Like I said, I feel emotionally stable that I did sell. I also know that, silver is going much higher in the long term. I don't know what the long term looks like. I'm really searching for a floor. So I'm looking for a floor so I can then reinvest heavily back into silver. Right now I'm continuing to stack my state quarters and my Merc dimes, but I'm like snail stacking. I'm being very cautious in the short term, looking for a floor so I can, reinvest, because long term I believe it's going much higher. So taking a little profits at this time, we'll see if it works out. We could Monday morning we could rebound, shoot back up to 120, or we could drop to 56. I don't know. So I'm just trying to stick to a strategy, DCA into assets, and then when the assets, explode in value, take a little profit, pull back my initial investment. So I pulled back a good portion of my initial investment, and like I said, emotionally I'm not on tilt. In poker, you catch a bad loss and a lot of people go on tilt and then they end up losing everything. I'm really feeling for the people who bought in, around 117, just like a week back or a few days back, and today, they're underwater. They're down pretty big. They're probably emotionally wrecked right now, and that just reminds me that when you are investing into an asset, that you have to have a long-term view. To DCA in, don't buy in at all-time highs. I'm kind of new to investing, and that's why I'm documenting this. I've been reading a lot of books. I feel that a lot of my poker knowledge, street smart knowledge, emotional awareness, all, love for psychology, studying human nature, that's where I find my edge, like in the markets. There's the madness of markets, and this is why I keep this round. With me, it just reminds me of all the madness, and we're going to the moon, and let's see, where is it? You have to have the diamond hands. And so this came around like the GameStop era, stuff like that all comes out. Wall Street bets, everything. So it reminds me of stories of people selling their houses, betting everything, YOLOing into something, gambling, trying to, get rich quick. And, I've learned that when Bitcoin shot up to around 120,000, its all-time high, it was up like 30% in 1 week, and I just have a rule now that when your asset's up, you just take some profits, and I rolled that into some gold. So when Bitcoin was at all-time high, I picked up this 1/10 ounce, gold coin. I think gold was around 3,000 at the time, and so that was a wise move on my part, because if we look at Bitcoin now, we're down, I think, around 83. I have to look at the chart, and gold and silver at all-time highs. So same thing with silver. I plan on taking the profits that I did take are used for buying a car. I want to buy a used car, use that to make money on my days off, bring more income into the household. So I look at it as a small business, an attempt at, a side hustle, a small business. I believe you need a side hustle in today's economy. So that's why I'm trying to create a side hustle for myself, so I can invest in more assets, buy more silver, buy more gold in the long run, So I'm trying to put that cash to work, keep it flowing, and I just imagine if I woke up this morning and I seen silver down, from 120 to dropped as low as like $75 and stabilized at 85. But if I saw that, I'd be wrecked. My car would be on the back burner, and I'd be feeling pretty salty today I'd be worried. A lot of fear would set into my mind, and I just know I would be eating myself alive inside. And so, like I said, by taking a little profit, at all-time highs or near all-time highs, in my case, I feel pretty good. I wish I would have had a little more patience, waited a little longer, got a little more, cash out of it, but my timing wasn't perfect. I find that my timing, I'm always a little too early, so I kind of got to adjust that time, and so I find my timing isn't always the greatest. But I try to follow a plan. Like, I look at these psychology charts on trading, and this is my first go around, so I don't know if these are accurate, but this is what I'm following. We always think that we have a new paradigm, and this time it's different. And I find these charts interesting. The fear, the greed factor. So I see the charts as a representation of people's emotions. So we're just charting people's emotions, how they feel about things. I find it very interesting. And so for my first go around, I'm trying to follow these charts, trying to figure where I'm at, where we're at, and relation to these charts. And when people are greedy, I try to be fearful. When people are fearful, I try to be greedy. It's kind of been working out. Silver a few years ago was unwanted, unloved. So I was trying to get as much as my budget could afford at that time and just stack as much as I could. And now that, silver is the darling of the party right now, and everyone's pouring into it, and it's loved, and, all the FOMO, and so a lot of speculators are here. And so when people are greedy, I'm trying to be fearful. And so I think, I find all this interesting with the psychology of markets. I kind of just trying to be a fly on the wall, learning, sucking it all in. And okay, I'm rambling on. I'm going to try and wrap this up. Kind of what I've observed and learned. I believe it's important to be diversified. In Ecclesiastes 11:2, old scripture says, "Give a portion to 7, yea, even unto 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth." And I find being diversified has helped me emotionally deal with a variety of markets. Wasn't long ago that Bitcoin was at all-time highs, and being diversified into silver has helped me as Bitcoin has, is undergoing a correction of its own. So being invested in silver, I've just been concentrating on silver. Silver's been on a hell of a run, a historical run, and it's doing real well. My portfolio's up. It's 3x'd, and so as Bitcoin's down, silver's up, and it helps me emotionally and financially. If I ever had an emergency, I could pull from the asset that's up. Silver. I have a gold car, so I'm pulling some money out of there. My stock is up. If I look at my stock, it's in the green. That's going up well. So as we deal with this dip or blow off top, like I said, I have no idea. I could focus at other areas. My eggs aren't in one basket, and my emotions aren't all tied to that one basket. We're still dealing with the climax and all these world affairs, and so I'm just trying to be emotionally stable. Also, something I observed, like gold is kind of like similar to Bitcoin. Like in the crypto markets, you have Bitcoin. We refer to it as digital gold. And when there's a correction or a crash, Bitcoin dips, but all the altcoins dip a lot farther. I'm kind of recognizing that in the metals market. Like if gold trips, all the other metals kind of just like fall. They tumble down the hill. And so I think if you don't want volatility, gold is definitely the metal to be in. I think gold will, if you like volatility and you want to try and take advantage of the volatility, silver is the metal to be in. I think gold will recover from this dip first, and that the people who took advantage of the GSR, that they'll have the opportunity to maybe take advantage of that again, maybe in the near future, maybe a little down the road. So that's something, I'm learning about the GSR, and I'm kind of just watching how a lot of that plays out in the metals. Taking some cash, removing some chips off the table, taking some profits, seems to be the right move at the moment, but like the old proverb says, we'll see. So I just want to see how that move works out in the future. I'm kind of just processing too. Trillions have moved out of the market in a matter of hours. People's realities have changed in a matter of hours. People's portfolios have changed in a matter of hours. And so that's interesting. Trying to process that. Like I stated, I believe that silver's going up in the long term. I believe by 2030, we'll definitely be at 150. I'm watching a lot of the FOMO, the hype, the people selling metals, the people that are lured in at the top, chasing gains. I find all that interesting, just keeping an eye how all that plays out. So like I said, this is my first time around. I'm just doing a little experiment on trying to preserve purchasing power. I know a lot of people hate fiat, but I see fiat as a tool, and certain jobs, demand a certain tool. Same thing as, silver. I see it as a tool. Same thing with Bitcoin or stocks. I believe in the seasons, and so I'm just trying to tune into all that. Like I said, I'm a fly on the wall, just observing right now, experimenting. This is my journey. I'm not saying do what I do. I was just experimenting with a lot of concepts, and so I'm just going to end it there. I'm rambling on. I'm kind of still processing what all went on today, but I just kind of wanted to document it. Thank you for watching. I hope maybe, you got something out of it, thought of things in maybe in a different way, or maybe got a laugh out of it. I hope you're all, doing well. I know it was a tough one today, but, that's why we invest in the long term. We know where it'll end up eventually. So, wishing everyone well. This is the Philly Stacker, and I'm out. Keep stacking, keep learning.